Well, hello, this is Jeff Gaudiosi, and you're on misplacedstraws.com, where music comes to life. And my guest today is none other than the voice of Sunset Strip icons, LA Guns. The band's about to release its new record, Checkered Past, on November 12th, and here to talk about it is none other than Phil Lewis. Welcome, Phil.
Thank you, Jeff. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. And the new record, it's called Checkered Past. And I think if you were to sum up the history of LA Guns in 2 words, Checkered Past would pretty much do the trick. How did you guys settle on the title?
Well, I mean, that's since this reunion, and I think we were in 2016, I think we did it. It's been important for us to come up with an appropriate title. We figured that after 15 years of estrangement, the title for the first record after that, called The Missing Piece, was very appropriate. Yes. And peace spelled, like, love and peace. Yeah. So, we like to think of ourselves as being quite witty. The title of Checkered Past fits into that very, very well, because God knows we sure have one.
And how was it trying to write and put this record together with just the state of the world? I mean, were you and Tracy able to get together for the creative process at all?
Well, we were able to get together remotely. It was a very, very different beast. It's not a traditional record by any means. We all had to build a recording studio in each of our houses, dwelling wherever we were living, and fly it in, record it, and then fly it back out to Adam Hamilton, who was putting down drums and compiling all the files. So it was a lot of technology, and nothing like the traditional, where you go, all the guys get in a room and what ideas? I got this song and let's try this, and I like that. Let's just change the chorus to it. There was none of that. There was no tweaking. It is what it is. Tracy came up with the music in about 10 days, and it was just up to the rest of us to get up to speed. And I think we did a really, really great job. And it doesn't sound like fragmented.
No,
it sounds like we're all, but this will be the first time that I've released an album that I never sang live. I've never sung any of these songs live, any of them. I think we did Let You Down last year. We did a live stream, and we pulled it out just to see, and it sounded great. But anything else, like, we're adding new songs to the set. We're going to add Cannonball, Get Along, and Let You Down into our set coming up. So yeah, two of those I've never done live. I'm not worried about it, since I've recorded it. I know it like the back of my hand. But it's a strange way of doing it, a strange concept. And I didn't hate it, actually. And it's certainly, during the darkest days of lockdown, it was a great distraction. It was great to have something to do and take one's mind off of the dreadful situation. And the fact that, we hadn't done a gig in, I grew a mustache to show how long it was since I did a gig, and it sort of took on a life of its own.
This is a heavy record, musically and lyrically, and it's kind of been the case since the reunion, that you guys have really gotten heavier, both in your lyrics and in your music. I mean, from your perspective, what's kind of led to that tone for the band?
I think that, leave Tracy to do the music. Just let him do the music. I'm done bringing in, my four chord masterpieces and having him interpret it. Just leave that to him. Stuff that he finds challenging to write and to play, and just leave him to that department. And then my job is to come in and make it cohesive and turn these great riffs and arrangements into songs. And it's the songs in many ways kind of, they don't entirely write themselves, but when you hear a song, I'll give you an example. A song like Living Right Now, which is one of my favorites.
It's my favorite song on the record, actually.
And just the way it kicks in, that down, 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 and it's sort of punky. It's got a punk rock vibe to it. So consequently, the lyrics are a little bit cheeky and a bit sort of punky leaning. And I've got to say, I probably sound more English than on that song than I ever did in any of my girl stuff. Just having fun, just riffing with it, and then something like epic and dark, like Let You Down. I'ma Let You Down. That had to be something serious and heart wrenching, because the music lends to lyrics along those lines. So yeah, it's that's why it's. I think I know what you're trying to say. I think it's not so much heavier, because there's some really lovely light moments, like Get Along. It's focused. It's really more focused than it ever was, because we in Mark 1 we were all writing, we were all bringing songs in, and nothing wrong with that, but I just think it's just stronger when you've got one lyricist and one writer, and that's how we like to do it.
And there's a lot of sort of musical styles and themes that Tracy revisits across a couple of songs that really kind of ties them together musically. Did you think about tying them together lyrically at all as well, or just kind of let those sonic sets speak for themselves?
Yeah, a little bit of both, I think. It's one wants to be inspired, and it's just a never-ending source of inspiration. All the stuff that Tracy's coming up with, he does it so quickly. It's just like second nature to him. Obviously, the other part takes considerably longer, but and he doesn't get in the way of that. He's like, no, he's not not lyrically inclined. He just leaves that and focuses on what he knows and what he does best. And plus, he's got a well-earned and fair production credit on this record, because it was definitely his vision right from the get-go. So yeah, it's just, I think in many ways him being part of a democracy held him back. I think he's much happier being a tyrant.
Said with love.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And after the reunion, the Missing Piece record, you guys shook the lineup a little bit, as the band has tended to do, and brought in Ace Von Johnson, Johnny Martin on bass, and now Scott Coogan on drums. And I mean, for my ears, especially with Ace and Johnny, this is one of the strongest musical lineups this band's ever had. Talk a little bit about what they bring to the band, once you and Tracy put the song together.
Well, yeah. The thing about LA Guns is we're not like Iron Maiden or Def Leppard. We never in the same pay grade. LA Gun, it has to be fluid. It has to be fluid, because we were just not certainly not an A-list. I don't know what you put us, but so we can't, in our history, we weren't able to offer people retainers, and so when other offers came along, we'd lose players, and that was just the nature of it, and I call it fluidity. It's just there's so many musicians out there, and there's no shortage. And if we need one, it doesn't take us long to find one. But you know, we're notoriously the band that has over 50 members. But you know, when you've got two versions running at the same time, that's no great feat. You know, I know our legacy at times is laughable, and you know, rock and roll at times is funny, but it's just so solid now. And I've got to say that since the reunion, Johnny Martin has been there, and in many ways, I feel like I joined Johnny and Tracy's band, because they were working together before the reunion, before I got involved. So I've got tremendous respect for Johnny, because he was very welcoming in having me back in the band. And you know, he could have been pissy about it, I don't know, but he wasn't. He was great. Him and I got on immediately, and I really love him as a person, and I love his playing. And he has contributed to music. It's not entirely true that Tracy did it all. Like Johnny came up with the incredible, fantastic riff for Cannonball. So you know, it's not like a closed shop. We have other people. Johnny certainly has a right to contribute if he so desires. Ace was great. Is great. We had Michael Grant for a while, and I just felt with Michael, he needed to be in his own band. He needed to front his own band. He's very much a front man, and he was playing, you know, second fiddle, and I think he was real frustrated by it, and it made for some tense touring. So you know, I let him go because of it, and it was a bit of a scramble to find somebody else. We tried Johnny Monaco from Enough's Enough, and it was great. I love Johnny, and he certainly had no problem playing it. In fact, it was too easy for him. He said he felt like a surgeon putting on a band-aid. So he didn't last long, and I always wanted Ace. I just thought Ace would be the perfect backup for Tracy. And I don't know, for some reason around that time, before we got Monaco, I don't know, I couldn't persuade Tracy to get on board with it. But and then all of a sudden, he was the one that suggested. He came up and said, "Why don't we get Ace?" And I was like, dude. So we did, and just as I thought, he fit in perfectly. He's got the right look, he's got the right attitude, he's fun to tour with. Just a terrific guy, and brings the average age of the band down to a little bit more respectable. Scott Coogan's a great drummer, and I love playing with him. He quit about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
Because he didn't play on the record. He didn't play a note. He just feels that his involvement in it was just nothing. That he just he plays with Stephen Pearcy, plays with Tiffany. He's not going to starve, you know. He's got lots of other stuff. So he very politely said that he was going to bow out, and he enjoyed the time. And who knows, we might get back together down the line. But you know, Adam played the drums on the record because Adam had the studio with the drums set up. If Coogan had that set up, then we would have used him. But it was just out of our hands. So we understand it's a fair parting, and there's no animosity whatsoever. So we've got Shane back, who played played on the Missing Piece and the Devil, and it's great to have him. The reason Shane left when he did was he got the dream gig of a lifetime working for Kanye West. He's like Kanye's right hand man, you know, like he's his personal recording engineer. So you know, we couldn't no way financially come anywhere near competing with that. So you know, with our blessing, he moved on. But you know, he's been doing that for a while now, and he spoke to the boss, and the boss is okay with him doing a little moonlighting. In fact, the boss has been very cool and let us use his warehouse to rehearse.
Oh wow!
Kanye's a big time in our good books right now. For A, for letting us have Shane back, and B, for the use of his facilities.
And you mentioned the other version of LA Guns. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring it up. But at this point, when you're putting out a new record and you guys are getting ready to tour, now that the legal issues have been settled, does it still kind of affect how you promote your record and your tour, like letting people know that, no, this is LA Guns, this is
no, it does. And unfortunately it required us going to court, spending a lot of money on lawyers, and it actually required him spending a lot of money on lawyers, when if he could have just been a gentleman about it in the first place and put his name to make it clear. But he was adamant in interviews that he goes, no, we're not changing our name. Why should we? We've got every bit as much right to it as they do. And it was fucked up. And so it was necessary for us to spend a shitload of money to resolve this. Now it's resolved. I don't give a fuck. He can go out. It doesn't bother me as long as it's got that Riley prefix, and people, there's no confusion, because they were exploiting, and it was put together to exploit confusion. It was put together for horrible reasons, and when you do something for all the wrong reasons, it rarely works out. So it was something that because since the reunion we've been on such a roll. And it was kind of fucked up that we had to stop and deal with that. But the pandemic actually worked in our favor, because it stopped both of us from playing, and it was resolved, and now we just move on.
And since the reunion, as we talked about, this is your third record, so you guys have been pretty prolific. But honestly, you've put out, I think, 3 of the best records in the LA Guns canon. What is it? And your peers from that time in LA in the 80s, most of them aren't putting anything out, or they're putting out singles here or there. What is it that drives you and Tracy to keep evolving and growing LA Guns?
I think we really love music, and a lot of our peers really love fame, and they're happy to go out playing last century's music as a nostalgia act and do very well with it, and they're happy. That's they're making money, they're doing what they love, and I've got absolutely no problem with that whatsoever. Tracy and I, we do it because for the sheer love of music. And we know full well when embarking on any of these records that most of it's not going to be played live. 70% of it is never going to see the light of a concert hall. But that's not the point. The point is that we are musicians, we're creative, we enjoy the process. And it's fucking great. The adulation we're getting right now from this record. It was a lot of work, a huge, formidable body of work put together under very trying conditions. So it's nice to feel proud about something. I'm not terribly proud. I was at the time when Never Enough came out. I was very proud. But that was last century, and I need something new to keep it interesting, and so does Tracy, and it's what we do, and we make money, not a lot of money, not like the money we used to make, but it is a nice source of income, especially when we can't gig. So we are working musicians, and we're not involved in a nostalgia circus.
And have you guys thought at all about what the tour for Checkered Past is going to look like? Any ideas on when you're going to be able to hit the road? Are you going to do, kind of small runs and see how they go, or are you just going to
Well,
plan something big?
We got a bit of both in the pipeline. We're gonna do some local shows in the LA, Vegas area when the record drops. Like half a dozen shows. We'll do a couple of shows in Vegas, 4 or 5 shows in the LA area, and culminating with the whiskey on New Year's Eve, which is our slot, and it's kind of traditional for us to play that. Obviously, we couldn't do it last year because everything was down. But yeah, looking forward to getting back onto our home from home, and playing these shows. And next year, we have a summer tour lined up with Tom Kiefer. That we're looking forward to. It'd be great going. It's kind of a co-headlining, so we're not, just playing like 35 minutes. We play a proper set, and Tom's happy to have us, and we're big Kiefer fans. So that'll be something that'll be a lot of fun. And so that's kind of what we got lined up so far.
Well, looking forward to catching on the road. We've been spending some time here with the one and only Phil Lewis from LA Guns. The new record is called Checkered Past. It's out everywhere November 12th. It's a great record. Highly recommend it. Phil, thank you so much for taking the time to do this, and hopefully we catch you on the road soon.
My pleasure, Jeff. Thank you. As I said, we really appreciate the support, and you've gone to the trouble of listening to it and compiling some great questions. So, we'll see you out there, mate. Cheers.
You got it. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.